Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Do you smell that? Do you smell that football is in the air? This is incredible. I can't believe it. It snuck right up on us, and that's because, well, after the whole pandemic shutdown, you had the 76ers debacle, you had the Flyers go on a playoff run, you had the Phillies suck you in a bit, but now it's time. Now it's time for the Philadelphia Eagles to take the football field on Sunday, and I can't wait. I'm very excited, very, very excited, although there's a bit inside of me that thinks it might not be as pretty as some others believe it may look. Because, let's be realistic, there's no preseason games. This team is just going to walk out on the field and execute perfectly. No. Here's the promising thing. They're going up against the Washington football team, who has a new head coach, who has a quarterback in Dwayne Haskins that's not really solidified in this league at all. They have a powerful defensive line. Kerrigan, Chase Young, they're going to be able to do some damage there, especially because what the hell is happening with the Philadelphia Eagles and their offensive line? It's been a legit joke, and it actually pisses me off, I'm not going to lie. The entire situation that we just sat through with Doug Peterson saying, oh, well, we don't really know where that report came from, when the report was obvious that Jason Peters wanted more money to play left tackle because of the importance of the position. And then magically one day, here comes Jason Peters walking into Doug Peterson's office and goes, hey, Doug, I'm going to play left tackle. In what world, in what universe is that really how it went down? And I like to call the Eagles front office right now the Three Stooges. When it comes to Doug Peterson, Howie Roseman, and Jeffrey Lurie, to me, they're the Three Stooges when it comes to speaking to the media. Now, keep in mind, I said when it comes to speaking to the media. When it comes to football games and Doug P on Sundays, I have trust in the guy. And when it comes to this organization as a whole and how much success they have had when it came to Andy Reid's tenure and Doug Peterson winning the Super Bowl. Of course, there's hiccups along the way, Chip Kelly era, and things that happened late with Andy Reid. But ultimately, the Philadelphia Eagles are known to be a very successful franchise. So the three that are in place right now over the last handful of seasons, they've put together football that you can totally respect. But still, when it comes to speaking, and Mike Rowe's going to stay, and Carson Walsh is going to stay, oh, wait a second, a day later, somehow they're not anymore. I mean, it's an embarrassment whenever they speak. They just try and lie, and they forget what lies they said, so they confuse themselves, and they look hypocritical, and they say things that make no sense. It's ridiculous, and it's frustrating, yet it's laughable, and at the same time, it doesn't mean a damn thing because the only thing that matters is winning football games on the field. But still, it is annoying and irritating that I have to sit there and listen to Doug Peterson talk in circles and make no sense. You know, they were going to put Matt Pryor at left tackle, so they said, right? And they go, well, Jason Peters is playing right guard, and we don't really want to move pieces around. What? You don't feel like moving pieces around? You mean you don't want to put the players in the spots where they normally play? Last year in a playoff game, you had Jason Peters at left tackle, Sayamalu at left guard, Jason Kelsey at center, Matt Pryor at right guard, and Lane Johnson at right tackle. That's what you had in a playoff game last season. Yet this year, before Jason Peters stepped into his office and said, hey, I'll play left tackle, coach, you didn't want to change anything because Jason Peters was playing right guard. And Matt Pryor hasn't played a lick of left tackle in his damn life. It's a sick joke, really. So, deep down, you know what? Yeah, it bothers me. It gets me going. It pisses me off. And speaking of being pissed off, and speaking about the whole Mike Rowe drama that happened last year, Jeff McLean of the Inquirer actually had a pretty interesting article out that he published this morning, and it dove deeper into that. And his sources were saying that Doug Peterson was pissed off. He was frustrated with how it went down because he already told Mike Rowe and Carson Walsh that they would return. And they had to backtrack the next day. And it's so silly. Every time these three speak, the Three Stooges, that's what I'm going to be calling them all year long. But I know that these Three Stooges have put together good football teams throughout the last couple seasons. So in reality, when healthy, I know that they should be able to get the job done. So let's dive more into how I'm feeling right now with this Eagles team. But before we do, this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. And with over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. They are dedicated to making sure your project is completed easily and properly by using high-quality materials and trained professionals to get the job done right. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. So make sure you check out their website and phone number. The information is in the description. So seriously, though, when it comes to this this offensive line as a whole, it's pretty concerning because Jason Peters at his age, why should I expect him to play 16 games and play every single snap in those games? History shows me that that's probably not going to happen. And who's the backup left tackle? Right now, is it Jordan Mailata, who has zero experience? They're intrigued by him, but he doesn't have any legit professional football experience. He barely has any football experience. And this is where the whole preseason thing is a big-time issue. You don't really know what they have. You don't really have the ability to throw them into live game action and go up against other talent. Not that other talent they would have went up against would have been the Kerrigans of the world or the Chase Youngs of the world, but it still would have been legit football action. And now you lose that out of some of these players that might have to play legit time. What's happening with Lane Johnson over there at right tackle? Well, they say it's an ankle injury, and Lane Johnson's someone that I expect to play through injury, but it's not good that it's happening now. Maybe when you hear about it in week 8, week 9, week 10, week 11, hey, Lane Johnson's banged up. You go, okay, well, he's a warrior, and I'm sure he'll find a way to fight through the pain, and he'll figure it out. Or he might have to miss a couple games, whatever the case may be. But for it to be starting out just like this, who's the backup right tackle? I know they're high on Driscoll. Would Matt Pryor slide to right tackle, and then Driscoll would play guard? Would Matt Pryor stay at guard and Driscoll play right tackle? Would Mailata play right tackle? Because it's obvious that they like him at the tackle position. The fact that I'm throwing out all these scenarios and we don't have the information, that is what's scary. I also heard that Herbig could slide in at right guard maybe. It's possible they go down that road. But we don't know. And not only do we not know, we also have no idea what these players are going to be like. Hey, Driscoll, we drafted you this year. Here you go. Getting thrown right into things. That's not going to be easy. So I really hope that Lane Johnson's there. And even if he is there, it's not like he's starting off the season 100%, and you have to keep an eye out on that ankle. So I am really concerned with this offensive line because you got to protect Carson Wentz. All of these players are playing without much preseason and not a lot of time like they are used to, so there's a lot that can happen, a lot of bad things that can happen, and they need to make sure that Carson Wentz stays upright. You can't have Carson Wentz early in the season running for his damn life, trying to escape the pocket, and then having the ability to be synced up with your wide receivers aren't there instantly. It's going to take some time for them to figure things out. Jalen Reagor's not in the mix. Miles Sanders is banged up big time, and hopefully he's going to go week 1. It seems like it was precautionary, but he hasn't been able to get the proper amount of reps, and he hasn't been able to be caught up to speed when it comes to the conditioning side of things because he hasn't been able to really dive deep into any of these practices. So that is something to be concerned about. And I know the Eagles aren't the only team dealing with this scenario. Every squad has this type of issue, and we're looking at an opponent who just got a new head coach, who's now implementing a new system. So think about how tough it's going to be for them while you have Doug Peterson, Jim Schwartz, and this coaching staff. Obviously, they added a ton of new voices when it comes to Scangarello and some of the new voices they add, but with Press Taylor and with Doug Peterson and with Jim Schwartz, they have a system that's been in place with a lot of veteran players that have been here before, that still doesn't make it that much easier in game one. Let's dive back to last season. Last season, week one, we thought it was going to be a breeze. We thought the Eagles were going to just whoop their ass. And luckily, DeSean Jackson and Carson Wentz hooked up for a couple touchdowns, but it wasn't pretty by any means. It was actually very sloppy, and I expect it to be very sloppy once again. I think the Eagles do get the job done. I'm sure I'm leaning a little bit more negative compared to the Eagles fans out there that, oh, we're going to crush them, we're going to dominate them, we're just going to crucify them. At some point, right? Not that I think this Washington football team is some great team by any means. I think they're going to be at the bottom half of the league, if not the bottom 5 of the league. But I just think that it's going to be so different. No fans. No flow. The practices are different. The preseason stuff is different. Even though the starters don't play a significant amount of time in those preseason games, the whole entire atmosphere mentally has changed for these athletes because they're so accustomed to going through a certain sort of flow once the summers hits. They know they have the voluntary stuff. Then they know they got to start getting ready for the real deal. Then you got the OTAs, and then you got the actual training camp, and then that snowballs into the preseason games. Now you're just thrown into this weird scenario where the first time you're getting actual action is a game that matters in September on all the major networks. I am truly concerned about this offensive line because there's no way that Jason Peters is going to complete all these games. He's going to have to check out for a bit. And who's going to be your left tackle to protect the quarterback who has been injured over the last handful of seasons? I am a little bummed because I really, really want to see Jalen Reagor. And it does seem like, as of now, week 2 is in play for him. When you see this offense without, let's just use DeSean Jackson as an example. When you see this offense with and without DeSean Jackson, it's a totally different offense, right? You have the speed guy who's going to torch Ronald Darby, which is going to be unbelievable to watch, to see Ronald Darby getting beat by a double move and trying to catch DeSean Jackson. That's going to be super entertaining, and I'll probably be flipping off the TV right to Ronald Darby. Screw you, you suck. I'll probably give one of those, no doubt about it. But when you see DeSean Jackson on the field and off the field, it's a totally different offense. Well, I think Jalen Reagor is going to have that type of impact where he's so versatile. You're going to see him in so many different ways. He's going to be utilized in different areas on this team when it comes to in the slot, on the outside. You might see some creativity similar to things that happened in San Francisco last year, and not seeing that week 1, it almost hurts my anticipation a bit for this offense because I don't think we're truly going to get a sense of what they are going to be able to do because he brings so much to the table. He gives you so many different looks. He can line up in so many different ways that it's such an added piece to this offense. So there is a little bit of anticipation that I lose because I want to see the 100% ability of this team, and I don't think you're going to get that whatsoever. And realistically, I don't think you're going to get that whatsoever anyway because the offensive line might not be able to hold up. You know, you can't downplay the power that the Redskins, the Washington football team, I apologize, it's going to take me a little bit of time to figure that out. But the Washington football team, they have lethal weapons on the other side who can absolutely do some damage. I'm concerned when it comes to the trenches. It's not rocket science that you win because of the trenches. So that scares me big time. But sticking with the wide receivers, you heard a lot of optimism around J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and we did hear how banged up he truly was last season and how much pain he was in and what he was trying to fight through to the point where it significantly hurt him when he was out there on the field. I know that there was some noise around some of the catches he made. Just show me. You know, I'm not going to say that there's no way in hell that J.J. Arcega-Whiteside can be some sort of help, but show me first. Prove it to me first. I need to witness it. I need my eyeballs to see it Because the only thing that I think about when I see J.J. Arcega-Whiteside's name or jersey or pictures of him or videos of him on social media, I picture his mom holding an umbrella over his head when it was raining last year during camp. Sorry, I can't get that damn image out of my head. It literally describes perfectly what J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was last season. A joke. It's that simple. A joke. But apparently he's raised some eyebrows. I mentioned DeSean Jackson. Who's to say he can stay healthy? Look, I'm not trying to be this negative Eagles fan. I think that they go 9-7 this season. I don't think they win the division. I've been on the record saying this when the Eagles' schedule came out. I think they're a 9-7 football team, and they find a way to make a wild card, and the Cowboys win the division. That's where I see them right now. I'm not trying to be some negative fan, but I'm just throwing out things that concern me. DeSean Jackson's health history, that concerns me. I'm not making this up. I'm not talking about stuff that isn't relevant. This is something that has hurt him throughout his career. He wasn't able to play last year. He didn't know about the whole surgery thing. That was a whole entire story of its own, but he has not been able to be active for a long period of time, specifically last year, and that was a big loss to this team. Can they stay healthy? Can DeSean Jackson stay healthy? And considering they lost how many players so far to this point, where's Derek Barnett? Avery. That was someone they used a 4th-round pick on to make a trade. Hargrave, their biggest acquisition of the offseason. The dude is a stud. The guy is a legit difference maker, especially when you have guys on the defensive line like Fletcher Cox, like Brandon Graham, like Malik Jackson, right? I mean, you're able to utilize this lethal unit of players. It would have been incredible to watch. Hargrave's down. And you're seeing all these injuries. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for the health of this team, and for the current players available, I'm nervous for them as well, because I don't know if they're going to be able to make that next step. Now, I would hope that they have enough to beat this Washington football team squad, because I don't think they have a great secondary, and I don't think that they have a great offense either. Yes, McLaurin has made the Eagles look silly recently, but Darius Slay is a big acquisition, and I think he can handle Terry McLaurin. But can Dwayne Haskins even get him the football? Can Dwayne Haskins make plays out there? Well, if you want to go off of last year, what ended up happening, well, you can look at the stat sheet after and go, oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Why does it seem like the Eagles do this all the time? There's always players that have these crazy eye-popping games when they face this team. I don't know what to expect out of Dwayne Haskins. I liked him out of college. But it's been a wonky situation in Washington as a whole. You have the cloud over them with the ownership, and there's a ton of investigations going on based off of the ugliness involved with cheerleaders and videos, and no reason to go down that road. But there's so much turmoil, it seems, inside that, it's been weird for him to start his career. But what is he? Is he going to take a step in his career? Well, only time will tell, but I don't think that they have enough to win this specific game. But I do think this. There is something that sticks out to me. We have taken advantage of a bad Giants team and a bad Redskins team every single year. And then it comes down to what's going to happen against Dallas. At some point, whether you like it or not, at some point, there will be a time where they're not going to sweep these teams. Playing your own division is tough. It's crazy to think they've been sweeping these two teams every single time to this point. Eventually that ends. Eventually Daniel Jones and the New York Giants will win a game. Eventually the Washington football team will win a game. It's just reality. It will happen. And I think the Eagles get the job done. But I just want to look at the other side of things. Ron Rivera, he's created a new atmosphere there. There's a new sense of urgency there. There's a different focus level there. You're bringing in a coach that has had some success in this league. He took the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl. He had a phenomenal 15-1 season. And he brings the intensity, The focus level has shifted down there, and they know that the Eagles are a favorite by 6 points. They have nothing to lose. Go out there and play. Go out there and screw the Eagles right from the beginning. Make them question who the hell they really are. It's easier to play as the underdog, especially in week 1 when nobody really has true ground because nobody knows anything. Nobody has been able to legitimately take snaps and face off against another team. There's nothing that we're really basing this off of when it comes to this season and the guys really being out there other than going up against their own team in practice. And I hate to break it to you, that's not enough. But I am excited. I am intrigued. I can't believe it's reality. Kansas City and the Texans coming up to really spark off the football season, and I love fall. There's nothing better than fall, winter. I always say this to my fiance, and she claims that I'm a nut job, although I guess it's possible that I am. My seasonal depression is in summer. The summer is my seasonal depression. Once fall hits, it's late September, it's early October. You end up having a Halloween come around. I'm not a big Thanksgiving guy, I'll be honest with you. It's one of those holidays I could live without, although I love the football side of things. I could live without it, though. But that fall, heading into the winter, it's dark outside, super dark, early. I love when it's dark. I love when it's pitch black at 6 o'clock. It's the best. I can't wait. That feeling is starting to come when you wake up. It's darker outside. I love it. Maybe I'm a psychopath, maybe not. But it's definitely my time of the year, and I'm coming out of the seasonal depression and ready to watch the pigskin get thrown around. I can't wait to see what Carson Wentz is this season. It's a big year for him. I love his raw talent. I love what he's been able to do when he's been healthy. Of course, staying healthy is a big-time conversation with Carson Wentz, but it's his 5th season now. And you saw what he did last year with the Greg Wards of the world and all of that Rob Davis crap. Now, you have DeSean. You're going to get Alshon Jeffrey back at one point, and I'm not an Alshon Jeffrey hater by any means. I want him here. I think he can help this football team. He gives you a reliable receiver out there. Not a big speed guy. We all know that and coming off the injury, but he's a reception guy. You can rely on him. Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, depending on how that injury looms with him. I'm afraid that he's going to be one of those in-and-out guy because of a hamstring or something of that nature. But I'm excited for Carson Wentz. Jalen Reagor. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. He now has players that he can rely on more so than last year. Greg Ward also back, and he earned his job. That's pretty wild, but he earned his job. He earned his spot in the slot. I think there's enough there to handle business. And once we see the first game, we see how things go down, of course, we'll have a real sense on where this is going, what the offensive line looks like, what Jim Schwartz and the defense looks like. How is Avonte Maddox going to handle the outside opposite of Darius Slay? I wanted to see Will Parks, but that's unfortunate. I thought he was going to have a nice role with the safeties, but how's Jalen Mills going to look? What is, not Rasul Douglas, Rodney McLeod. Is he going to step up and be that big vocal emotional leader considering he's been back there with Malcolm Jenkins? Now Malcolm's not here. Is he going to step up into that role? What the hell is going on with the linebackers? Nate Gary, TJ Edwards. Who's going to play that type of role? Who's going to step up? You know? Roby Coleman, he seems to be perfectly executing in the slot. Trayvon LeBlanc can back him up. But what's this defense going to look like? You know, there's a lot of questions. Once again, I do think the Eagles win. I don't know if they cover, though. I don't know if they cover the 6. You look on paper, and yes, the Philadelphia Eagles have a deeper team. But who the hell cares about on paper anymore? I've seen so many NFL football seasons. I've seen so many sports. Screw football seasons. I've seen sports where whatever is down on paper doesn't matter. It doesn't work out that way. It doesn't mean that team automatically goes out and wins. Something happens. Injuries occur. It doesn't look as smooth as it was supposed to. Hell, look at the Philadelphia 76ers as your damn example. Look at the Boston Celtics 2 years ago when they had Kyrie Irving as an example. Sometimes it just doesn't go that way. So, you just have to wait and see how it all plays out. I think they win ugly, and they need to get healthy. They need to get their guys back out on the field already. We're already speaking about that. Yup, we're already speaking about getting healthy and getting guys back out on the field. And I think they got to add depth to this offensive line. If one person goes down, good luck. All your options are guys who have never played before. It's mind-blowing that this is where they are, but this is where they are. We'll be talking more Eagles, without a doubt. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk Eagles. Even though this might have seemed down, it doesn't mean that I'm not excited for this football team. It doesn't mean I think they're going to stink completely by any means, but I would like to address the other side, and I would like to address the concerns that I have, and I think that they are all valid, reasonable concerns. It's pretty easy to get sucked in and think, the Eagles are going to win every single week. They're going to crush the Washington football team every time they play. They're going to crush the Giants every time they play. Now, at some point, that's going to end. And I think that there's reasonable concerns. If I was to point out one way the Eagles would lose prior to any offensive line injuries or anything like that, I would go, Washington has a lethal defensive front. And Chase Young being added, Sweat being added, They can do damage. Kerrigan, they can do legit damage. And I would have said that before any offensive line injuries. And now factor in that there's just stuff thrown at that spot right now. Because JP is not playing the full game. And he's not going to be playing the full 16. Who's stepping in? Is Jordan Mailata going to really be the one to protect Carson Wentz's blind side? Ooh. I don't know. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.